All right, thank you, Monica. It is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. I am not in Berkeley. I am in the Hilton Garden Inn at the Indianapolis airport in the business center. So we'll try some business center meditation. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what the energy is in this space, but we'll try to bring some positive energy into this space. And so the next person who comes in to do business, I'll be like, oh, I feel so relaxed today. Okay. So just settling into a comfortable meditation posture. You can close your eyes or just lower your gaze. And first, turning the attention to the body and to the way you're holding your body, the balance and alignment. And feeling your mood and your energy today. Anytime we meditate, the, the experience is going to be very dependent upon the pre-existing mood or like how alert we are, and what we're bringing to it. There can be this tendency to think that meditation exists in some separate realm, so that when we close our eyes, start to pay attention to the breath, that automatically everything should shift, but that's not how it works. So I find it helpful to just acknowledge, where am I at right now? What's here? What am I bringing to this sitting? Am I relaxed or am I worried? Am I busy? Am I bored? And that's where we're starting. And then, of course, yeah, we bring mindfulness to the breath and try to calm the body, settle the mind. And depending upon all the factors that may happen or it may not. Sometimes you sit down to meditate and things seem to get more busy or more anxious. Other times you just nod off. And then, of course, there are times when we can get calm and a clarity comes. And actually, all of those things can happen in one sitting. And that's why we want to stay mindful, observe with an openness, sense of acceptance, non-reactivity, not reacting to what we're feeling or what's going on, just observing, bringing interest and curiosity. Now, the breath is a very convenient object for our meditation. It's always there. It's a neutral experience, not too pleasant, not too unpleasant. And it has a certain rhythm and flow that we can engage with that helps the whole nervous system to align and connect and settle. We use the sensations of breath as our focus. You can feel the touch of air at the nostrils, or the movement of the belly, the diaphragm. And both of these are connecting with something real, something physical. There's no thinking involved. We're not trying to control the breath or analyze the breath. Just the simplest form of consciousness, awareness of sensation, breathing in and breathing out. Mm. The thoughts may come and go in the background, sensations, sounds. And sometimes we lose contact with the breath. Whenever you realize you're not feeling the breath or aware of the breath, acknowledge that. Notice where the attention is. And then gently come back, reconnecting, starting again. Meditation is like a microcosm of recovery. The key is to keep coming back. We wander, we lose connection, and then we remember What's my purpose? What's my intention? And we start again. We're not trying to get somewhere. There isn't some sense of progress in the typical way that we perform activities or learn skills. It's just the same thing, day by day, moment by moment. Just as we don't become more sober or more recovered, spiritual growth works a different way, not on that linear path of acquisition or scoring points. There's no winning or losing. There's just this moment, how we engage this moment. Okay, so I did not bring a bell today. So ding, a little odd to come out of meditation without a bell. I guess I could use one of those digital things, but in any case. So in just thinking about what would be what I could talk about today, I was thinking about yesterday. I was thinking about traveling and kind of how un-Buddhist I feel when I'm traveling, or unserene I feel, and and how how I work with that and what that means. And I remember that the first time when my wife and I were still just dating back in the early 90s, the first time we got ready to take a trip to fly somewhere, I woke up the morning of our trip and said, I don't know if I really want to go. And over the years, I've come to realize that, like, I have anxiety about traveling, and I'm sure it's not particularly unusual. Um, some a while back, some years ago, I noticed that when I was getting ready to take a trip, especially a teaching trip, that my meditation for a couple of weeks would be about what I was going to put in my suitcase. Like, what clothes am I going to need, and what's the weather going to be like, and how many pairs of socks do I need, and it just starting to, you know, uh, one of the things that this practice does is it makes you curious about your own mind, right? So, as I was thinking about yesterday, I think, well, one way of characterizing what happens is I'm powerless over um, the things that come up, these feelings. It's not that there's something wrong with me, which, is a common sort of interpretation of, like, if you have trouble with something, if you have a lot of feelings around something, what's wrong with me? How can I fix that kind of thing, right? That's like a very sort of, I don't know what it is. It's something I was certainly indoctrinated in, and go to a therapist and fix it or something, or take a pill and fix it. And so I think of this as related to step one in the 12 steps. The step one's for Alcoholics Anonymous. The original 12-step program says we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. And so I think when we talk about powerlessness, a lot of times that's pointed towards the external and all the things that we can't control in the world. And everything is impermanent, and people leave us, or you lose a job or whatever, and of course that's true, that we're powerless over a lot of the things in the world. But it's interesting, the more complex issue, because that's kind of pretty, like, okay, I can't control it, I need to let it go, or what can I do about it? Sure. But with the internal experience, I think it gets more complicated, because first of all, we feel responsible for what goes on in our own mind, which right away is like, are you really responsible for that? Like, do, do, did you create your mind? Did you create your neuroses and your habits and your conditioning? Well, I've participated in that conditioning, right, over the years. Like, I had tendencies, and then I fed them, and then I became an alcoholic or whatever. And then I, like, decided not to drink anymore, so I stopped drinking, and then I became recovered, or less of an alcoholic or whatever, right? I don't know what, a sober alcoholic, whatever you want to call it. So there's this ongoing relationship and this tension in our experience of, you know, what we're powerless over and what we are not powerless over. And I was talking about this in terms of uh, when I was doing that reading from Thanissaro Bhikkhu about the two forms of conditionality, which is really the two forms of karma, which is like the past karma that arrives now that you just have to accept, and then the karma that you can create right now through your effort, which is what you're responsible for. And that there's this ongoing tension in our lives between these things. It's what the serenity prayer is about. Accept the things I cannot change, have the courage to change the things I can. And so I think we're always having to ask ourselves, well, what am I responsible for here? And what do I need to let go of? And there's no perfect answer to that, right? In any moment, there isn't a perfect answer. We just do our best. We navigate it. But when it comes to like, okay, I'm gonna take, you know, I'm gonna pack my suitcase. I'm gonna take Bart. I'm gonna go to an airport. I'm gonna get on a plane. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna go to a hotel. And there's this anxiety running there, right? Then it's like, okay, I'm I'm definitely powerless over the fact that this energy shows up. I'm not to blame for it. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, you can analyze it, but I don't really even have any clue on that one. Doesn't matter, right? The question is, how do I cope with this, right? And it's one of the reasons why there's bars in airports, right? Because people get anxious about travel. So let's go to the bar and have a couple of Bloody Marys before we get on the plane. So I just thought of that. But anyway, so and and so since I don't have that option, it's like, I try to remember to breathe and to be with this and notice like this is really unpleasant. But of course, at times I forget to be mindful. And I'm just like in a state of not liking, of aversion, of like, this is yucky. I will say, just side note, taking the subway in Stockholm is very different from taking the subway in San Francisco. Like, it is quiet. They have like rubber wheels. And the BART has like, there's some kind of little beings that they attach to the tires that scream the whole time. They attach to the wheels. So it's like, like, America. Best country in the world, except for all the things we're really bad at, like public transit. Anyway, and screaming wheels on subways, I think, triggers more anxiety. Just a additional side note. And of course, I'm powerless over that, right? That's the external that I'm powerless over. So it's just so interesting, like how much of my trip is just like, okay, I'm going to get through this, and how much of it is okay, breathe, unpleasant. It's okay. Oh, I'm in my plane seat now and I have my Kindle. I can read, I can get absorbed into my book. And thank you, Christine. Japanese bullet train for the win. Excellent. I believe you. Absolutely. But, and then, you get some comfort. It's like, oh, okay. I'm like in my seat. It's a little small, but it's okay. I've got some water. I've got a book. I got a murder mystery. I'm just like, who done it? I'm like, my mind is absorbed now. Ah. So, I mean, there's part of me that's like, if I were if I were really enlightened, if I were really a Buddhist, I would just float through this and nothing would ever bother me about it. And that's why I asked Ajahn Pasano, who's been a monk for 50 years, what he does when he goes on an airplane. And I asked him, do you just meditate? Because he flies to Thailand all the time. Do you just meditate for like 13 hours? It's like, oh, no, no, no. You can't meditate on an airplane. I was like, really? You mean it's not just me? He's like, oh, no, like I'll watch a movie or read a book or something. I'm like, feel so much better. Like because if you've ever met Ajahn Pasanno, I mean, he seems to embody that kind of equanimity, 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 whatever, uh, of a monk. You sort of imagine the monk who just sort of floats through everything, floats through the security line, floats through the light. Never, nothing ever bothers him. He's like, no, that's terrible. You can't meditate on a plane. It's like, this guy's been a monk for 50 years. He must know. So maybe, there isn't something wrong with me, right? And just like be okay that it's not okay. That's some kind of a saying, right? Like it's okay that it's not okay, something like that. Maybe it's something the kids say. But but I do think like I guess put it in the sort of framework of harm reduction. Like I have boundaries. Like I don't drink and I don't, scream at the people on the people on the plane, the captain, and the captain who, when we landed in Indianapolis, said, "We're in Indianapolis." I was like, "Is that a joke? Does that guy not know how to pronounce it?" I don't know. But anyway, um, and it's like, okay, like this is where like the precepts and the broader idea of precept come in. The precepts are these protections. In a way, they protect us from ourselves, right? And they protect us from creating harm. And and it's not just you don't kill and steal and all these things. It's also that you don't freak out at the airport and yell at the TSA agent because it's annoying that they're searching your bag or something. Just like all those things, right? That we try to learn to do, and I associate it all with recovery as well because recovery is not just not using intoxicants. It's also, learning to be a good citizen, sort of, one way of putting it, and and learning to move through all the challenges of the world without uh, freaking out, without losing it. Uh, and on the most wholesome end of this is trying to bring loving kindness, right? And that can happen too. It's a great intention to bring when you're traveling or when you're encountering strangers, right? To just be like, oh, and some people can do that all the time. And I know some people just have that beautiful quality. It's not one I have inherently, but sometimes it's there. I generally try to keep a really, I do like try to be kind to people, but I'm also easily annoyed, so a lot of it is so it's the spectrum, right? On the one end of the spectrum, it's like, oh, I'm going to be really nice. Like yesterday morning, I said to the TSA agent, like something like, "How's your morning going?" And she was like, "Oh man, I'm so tired. Like, I'm still waking up." And that was sweet, right? It was a nice interaction. It was just like human, right? But then there are the moments when it's like, I just have to like keep myself from yelling right now, I mean, there was something wrong with the luggage thing in the airport, and I have taken to checking my bag, which I didn't do for years, but the baggage claim system has gotten so much more efficient just for those who haven't traveled lately. And like now I'm getting to be like, do I want to drag my suitcase through the airport? But there was something wrong, and it was like delayed for like half an hour, and we're just standing around, and there was like a little office there for the baggage, and I was like, I could go into that office and yell at those people, because they charge me money. Because besides that, I have this complaint. Like they charged me for my bag, but then when you get to the to the boarding, they were like, anybody, we're not, you can't take your bag on anymore. We're full, so you can check your bag for free here. And I'm like, I paid to have my bag checked, and now people are getting it for free who drank, and I've got my grievances, and now you're making me wait for, like, huh, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. As there were like 50 other people waiting for their bags. I was like, it's not personal. Okay, this just sucks. And then, so finally, after like half an hour, I was like, this is impermanent. I had that thought. And immediately my bag came down. I was like, oh, if I'd have just thought that at the beginning, it would have come through before. Magical thinking. That's definitely magical thinking. But it is like that thing of like, oh, yeah, right. You're standing there. It's like that feeling of like, I'm going to be here forever. Like, when is this going to end? I can't tolerate this because it's never going to end. I'm in hell. And then it's like, oh no, you're not in hell. You're just waiting. It's like, uh, so, um, so I guess just to come back to this point, I think because I think it is an important point for me. It is to recognize that there are certain ways. Going back to, for me, my travel anxiety, and for you, whatever your thing is that you triggers you, just realizing like there are some things about my psychology that I don't have control over and that I can work on. And and maybe they get moderated to some extent, but it's really, first of all, to just recognize it's not my fault, as my dear, late friend Wes Nisker would say, you are not your fault, which is a good, but it's not my fault that these feelings show up, and it's not an indication that there's something wrong with me, and it's not that they're not supposed to be there. Like that, because that's one of the things in my mind. Like this shouldn't be happening, right? Like it's never true. Whatever is happening should definitely be happening, because cause and effect brought it about. So it has to, it's happening because of past causes. Now, then comes back to that other thing of like, this stuff shows up. Now, what am I going to do in response to it? And that's the only question. And I think there's a tendency, certainly I have this tendency to get all wrapped up in the other stuff, like the why is this here and it shouldn't be here and what's wrong with me and how can I get rid of it, rather than, okay, how can I meet this, engage this, not be overwhelmed, hold it in this Dharma context, which is why, like, at the end of my morning sitting, the last thing I always say to myself is, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And it's meant to be a reminder to me to like engage in my life through that lens rather than through the Kevin lens, uh, that it's all about me. And so, yeah, powerless over kind of like myself, you know, my not self, I'm powerless over that. You know, in a way, it's a kind of scary thought, right? Like I'm walking around in this mind and body, and I'm not really in control of it. Oh shit, what's going to happen? Like anything could happen. But of course, it's to remember, like, oh no, you know, I'm powerless over the things that show up. I'm not powerless over how I respond to them. So there you go. I saw Greg came on here right at the end. He's like out in the lobby of the hotel, so uh, I just want to see it, hopefully he approved of my uh, after he asked me what I was going to teach. So no, thank you for your attention, and we have some time left, if people wanted to comment or Oh, Mary Helen. Lovely.
Kevin, I have really appreciated this morning. I am moving from one place to another, not
Mm,
within the same town.
mm,
And I, it has just thrown my whole life kind of up in the air.
yeah,
And it's very much like traveling. There's nothing wrong. Everything's going fine.
yeah,
And it just, one of the most comforting things I've heard people say is, moving is one of the most stressful things we ever do. And I think, oh,
yeah,
thank you. You're right. There's nothing wrong here. And it's all gonna work out. And you know, so I really appreciated um I can work on my attitude
yeah.
and accept the way I'm feeling. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And it's a reminder that good things can be really stressful too. I mean, try getting married sometime. Man, it's really dangerous. Kathy, hello.
Hello, Kevin. Um, I'm so glad that you're talking about this because you're totally not alone. I mean, I think we all feel that way. I totally can feel the stress while you're talking about it.
Sorry.
And it's okay because I wake up and I don't want to go to the airport. I think the
Uh-huh.
hardest part is getting there, and I worked as a flight attendant on the flight deck there for 20 years, and I
Mm,
still feel totally, totally stressed out
wow.
because it's a foreign environment. You don't go on airplanes every day. You
Yeah,
don't go to the airport every day, and everybody is nervous, scared, out of don't have control, and
yeah,
people with power issues really can't stand being told what to do, and sometimes I watch the YouTube videos of the people that are getting denied boarding because they took too many tranquilizers or took too many drinks because they're nervous and they're scared
yeah,
and they're alone and they don't know what to do, and it makes me feel compassion for all of us. And I totally have to talk to myself before I go to the airport and say, it's okay,
yeah,
all these people, you don't want to be here and you don't want to be around all these people,
yeah.
but it's going to be fine, and grateful, and just constantly. And that's why the airlines have such a high sick call rate because you
Wow.
don't want to, the flight attendants don't want to go either. I mean, because
Wow.
everybody's looking at you, you're going for 3 days, you don't
Yeah.
want to be with all those people. And really, you're in the hands of the pilot. You're just hoping that he is well trained
And the mechanics. Yeah.
and the mechanics, and hopefully they're communicating well with each other
Yeah.
and agreeing on the same page. But yeah, so very common. And thank you for talking about it
Thanks,
because
Kathy.
it doesn't
Yeah,
go away, I don't think. All
and
right.
I think there's also this primal way in which our bodies know we're not supposed to be doing this. We're not supposed to be flying, first of all. We're not supposed to be going this fast. And
It's unnatural.
yeah, I mean, I think there's the same anxiety in cars. That's why road rage happens because, your body is moving way faster than it's designed to go. Anyway, thank you. I like hearing that from the expert too. That's great, Kathy. Christine, hi.
Hi. So first of all, thank you for hosting these. This is my second time here, and I
Uh-huh.
really appreciate it. I'm familiar with you through your books, and I just learned about this Tuesday meeting. So I'm grateful to be here. And as you were teaching, one of the things that struck me is something I've been working on personally, and that is this idea of fault. Like I immediately want to know whose fault it is.
Hmm.
And my mind wants to immediately assign fault.
Right.
And so I've really been watching that and noticing how often, which really all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
that I do that or that my mind does that. And I keep asking myself, what if it's no one's fault? What if
Yeah.
it just is? Can you accept that?
Yeah.
That's really helped me.
Thank you. I mean, that's like a whole other talk we could go into, and I've, kind of joked about how like, you get married so you have somebody to blame, like that's the and I do think it's one of the huge stressors on relationships, on intimate relationships, that it's the most convenient person right here that I can blame for the discomfort I'm feeling right now. And of course, it has huge political implications because that's how, you demonize the other. And so it's a very natural human tendency. And I think it comes down to, though, like a legitimate question about cause and effect, because it's really important for humans to figure out causality. That's how we solve problems, is by figuring out how, you know, I mean, when you look at a bridge and you think some engineers have figured out the math that's involved, like how much, weight this bridge can hold. And like, this is the genius of humanity, that we can figure out causality. But then, of course, with every, you know, good quality comes the shadow side, which is we just want to, as you say, blame and find fault. And it is a really interesting, like, practice to take on, of like, oh, what if there is no one to blame? And definitely brings a lot more harmony into our lives to have that attitude. Thank you, Monica. And see, I'm not blaming you for not coming next week, because I wanted to, like, say that you were abandoning me, but you're not.
No, I told you I
I
abandoning
know.
it if I just
You were
didn't show
totally
up.
responsible and adult about it. And I'm like,
Well, not
oh, yeah.
adult, but that I will be at it's a retreat for brain injuries. So
Yeah.
I'm an ambassador, so I'm like staff now. It's gotta be there.
So you're
There
not
is
just going to be in a
meditation going
spa
on.
that day? You're not just taking a spa day?
No,
Yeah.
I will. I would not do that to you.
No, I
But
know.
I did want to say I this has helped me a lot. I was on a very big trip, an odyssey, and we were in Ireland for 2 weeks and England for 2 weeks. And I may not have spoken about this, hopefully not, but um, I was part of the airline industry too for like 10 years.
Mm.
So I'm happy for the thoughts and everything. But Aer Lingus canceled the flight the day we were supposed to leave for
What?
mechanical problems. The next day, they stick us on a plane and turn it around after 1 hour
Oh.
and say that they can't go any further because they can't, there's something really bad going on. I'm going like, great.
Mm.
And with my anxiety, but I was so tired at this point, and I'm like, ah, so I just that's when I could meditate. It was funny.
Mm.
And then we finally get out on the third day, and then on the way back, our we were coming from Birmingham to Dublin, and that misconnected because some kind of strange big problem in Dublin. And
God.
now I have trip insurance for the first time, and
Uh-huh.
getting them to pay. I guess I got to go find the magic decoder ring and a box of cereal. Not
Right.
sure.
Right.
Um, and I have unwholesome thoughts sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
I will
really?
admit to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, when we arrived in Dublin from Birmingham, finally, they said our bags got left in Birmingham, but we got we got air tags. I got a deal on them around Christmas time, and I had
Right.
thrown them in, and I said, "No, they're here."
Right. Right. Right.
But like it's
That's
not a
true.
very to me, it's not a very Buddhist behavior. But I'm like, well, it's right here. See, the bags are here, and
It's just what's
um,
true. That's not un-Buddhist,
oh, what's true? Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
guess, but I want to. I as I deal through the trying to keep the stamina up to keep up with the insurance
Right,
and
right.
the airlines too. There was a whole thing, but
Well,
they're paying us for what they did.
they
Um,
count on your lack of endurance,
well,
They make
I've
money on
a
that.
yeah, and apparently I've got more than most people. So,
Yeah. You and
but
my wife, so,
well, I worked in the airline industry,
yeah,
right?
there
So,
you go.
yeah, so I kind of know. But I have all the years. I used to fly back and forth for every 4 months, and I have never had this happen, not
Yeah.
once. And I guess I was overdue for everything.
It
So
all your past karma caught up at
I
once.
guess so,
Your
but
travel
I can
karma.
say that
Yeah,
I wasn't as upset as I could have been in past.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Um, I just was like,
Yeah.
there was a moment when they turned the plane around. And didn't let us get in the terminal till midnight. That was a bad moment for me because I was like, why am I back? And
Well, but there's the good news that they didn't take off when they shouldn't have, because
well,
that's that's even worse.
yeah,
I'd
but
rather have them, oh, you know what? No, we're not going to do this. Oh, okay, good. We're
yeah.
not
So
going to fly.
I know I'm rambling, but it's just
Yes,
there's
well,
so much stuff happening, and it's hard to keep up.
yeah, that's
And it's
true.
hard to stay wholesome, and it's hard go, oh, I'm powerless and it's impermanent. That's a lot. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about travel right now. There's a lot
Yeah,
of people who are coming back with stories themselves.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what Joffrey said. Yeah, it's fraught with difficulties, but it's not in my experience. So now here it is. So, well, we went on purpose to get out of Europe before the deluge came.
Uh,
So we were in and out before ever, high season started, but it didn't seem to. Right. So I feel your pain.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
I commiserate.
Thank you,
And
Monica.
and I wouldn't abandon you
No,
on purpose.
you've
I
done
know
way,
that.
way
I
more
know
than
that.
anybody. Yeah, thank you. Okay,
So,
John, I'm going to let
oh,
John speak before, because I'm going to have to go here, because got to
I'll
retreat
make
to
it. I'll
teach.
make it quick.
No, no, take your
But
time. We're not really in a hurry.
thanks, Kevin, for the topic. We're going to be traveling, my spouse and I,
Uh,
in 30 days, and it's going to be a long trip. And bringing up the idea of blaming your spouse hit the nail. I mean, what a great target for all
I
of
know.
my pain and anxiety.
Yes.
And we've I won't even get into it.
No.
But I don't have anything wise to say, but I wanted to add to the list, and that's loudspeaker systems at the airport
Well,
create so much
yeah.
anxiety and pain. You're having to listen because of they talking about you know, what a great topic. So thank you very much for
Thanks.
delving into it.
Thanks for that additional trigger. Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
um, there's a reason why old people are always like, turn the music down, because our ears become more sensitive when we get older. And,
Yes.
so there's also that. But I can't understand anything they say through the speaker systems at an airport, so I don't worry about it. Like, you know, text me if you want to get something through to me, just text me. Jeffrey, you showed up late, and then you're gonna just jump in and share. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kevin. Actually, computer troubles had me on and off
I
in the
hope I
meeting.
hope that you're feeling well
It's,
today.
I am feeling well today.
Good.
Thank you for asking. I attended a day long at Spirit Rock this weekend with Norman Fisher, a name that you probably know,
Yeah.
and it was about the Dojin teaching of continuous practice.
Mm.
And what you have been talking about here today, and what the several folks that I've heard, this is the problem that you have to get up off that cushion and take the practice into the busy airport and the difficulties of travel and all of that crap that we've got to go. I mean, I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and that's a bunch of crap. An hour drive to complain about my finger hurting. And yet, and still, that's isn't that, tell me if I'm wrong, isn't that the stuff that isn't that the information? Isn't that the material that we are given to study? All of
I
that,
guess, yeah, whatever is here, that's
whatever arises, to see it in a different way. And regarding travel, when I first came around to you, when I was driving across country
mm,
for UPS, I did learn to meditate in the back of a tractor trailer
mm,
traveling down Interstate 80 at 70 miles an hour. It can be done.
mm,
It is helpful to have a lot of pre-recorded Dharma talks.
yeah,
So
nice.
good to see you. Good to see
Yeah,
all of you.
thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Oh, um, I like the people putting in all the things that are bad about traveling. Sorry to bring that up. Now let's think about the wonders of being in a lovely, special place that you can get to. Uh, just a couple generations ago, it wasn't possible to pretty much go anywhere but like, you know, the county that you live in. And you had to ride a horse to, if you ever read like Jane Austen novels, it's like going up to London is like a big deal because they live like 20 miles from London. Anyway, just on that, just to put in a little positive thought. Um, Thank you everybody for showing up. Nice to see everyone. And I did. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention again because we're the Friday uh, Zoom connection. Monica had some new information about that. We're going to switch over on September 17th,
19th.
19th,
19th. We'll go
and,
live.
and
And
with a new Zoom
and
link.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Lots of equanimity.
and it's going to be a direct link. You won't have to register, right?
Right.
Okay, and I'll put that on my website after I get home.
Right. There won't be a waiting room. So if you were
Right.
to be the person that showed up and for some reason there's three of us that are kind of manning it, but you could also lead it.
Okay.
Anyone could lead it. So
So that's the
it's gonna be great.
Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Right. And it's still connected to Kevin because we read from his daily reflections, which are
So
very lots of kernels of wisdom and wholesomeness in there. So.
thank you. And so I will be around next Tuesday. At that time, I should be in North Carolina at Southern Dharma. God willing, everything goes okay. Uh, in the meantime, keep the Dharma alive in your life. Keep your recovery alive. Keep showing up, doing the best you can, and let go of that which you cannot control. There's my wisdom for the day. Thanks, you guys.
Good to
Peace.
be with you. Looks like you and Greg are in different rooms.
Yeah, he's out in the lobby.
Good place for Greg.
Yeah.
I love that you led an entire meditation meeting in the business center. That is
No,
so awesome. Yeah,
we're
yeah,
vibing the whole business center. I'm
I
telling you.
thought you were in a
yeah.
closet or something.
Well, that's what they are now, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
afterthought. Yeah.
yeah. I know.
So, but I love
Hey,
that you
Greg.
were able to do it and stay focused. I'd be like going like with my ADHD, like, who's there? Yeah.
Well, they were saying check-in time isn't until 4 o'clock. There probably wouldn't be anybody here, so it was a safe.
Have a great retreat. See you next
Thanks.
Tuesday.
Thanks. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.